answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Yes, exactly. What happens when truth doesn't matter anymore? Because it seems like the truth is what people are running from, and the truth will set you free. I'm Sean Sims, host of The Outsiders. I'm with my superstar co-host, Doc Cheatham. How's it going, Doc?
It's going great, and the church say amen, because the truth will definitely set you free.
And that's what this show is all about. We're here to do two things. In the words of Roddy Piper, they live. We're here to do two things. We're here to chew bubble gum and kick ass. And we're all out of bubble gum. There's a lot going on. I'm gonna jump right to it. We do have a special guest running for the mayor's race, the mayoral candidate for the Republican Party, one of the mayoral candidates, Donald E. Scoggins, and his campaign manager, Terry Sims. I believe Terry's a cousin of mine, but Terry Sims. He's going to be on as well with Don, and I'm just going to jump right into it. The Key Bridge, what was that? I saw the footage. Looked very suspicious to me. Did not look like, it was not copacetic the way they explained it. I'm sorry, Doc. Did you see the footage of the destruction of the Key Bridge, Francis Scott Key Bridge?
I want to say, if I've seen it 50 times, I saw it once. I've been looking, I guess, watching every TV program I can to try to figure out exactly what happened. I'm glad to say that I never rode over the bridge during those hours, but I frequent that bridge quite often. So I'm thanking the Lord that I wasn't on it, but I'm very suspicious of the fact that there is an employee that was interviewed, heavy-set white woman who says she works there, and she said the day before the crash, they had problems with the electricity on that boat.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I'm gonna deep dive into this a little bit more because I don't have enough information yet, but from my sources that I'm getting back, the information that's getting back to me is that the way that Westmore and Brandon, did you see the photo of Westmore and Brandon together? It looks like they were practically spooning. Wow. Oh my goodness, that was disturbing. I'm sorry, but even more disturbing than that pic was what happened to the Key Bridge. And I saw the footage, watched it several times, heard from people who were captains of cargo ships who explained exactly how things happened with the lights. The lights are supposed to go off. That's what they said. The lights are supposed to go off so you can see the warning signals on a ship in the dark. You're supposed to make the ship dark. And then, of course, the generators automatically kick on, put the lights back on. You have to turn them back off. This is what a captain explained, how it works. So that's supposed to happen, people. So don't get it twisted. But I'm going to get more information because the Francis Scott Key Bridge, my dad, FYI, my father was actually born on September the 14th, the day that the Star-Spangled Banner was written. He was born on that day. So that holds a special, I suppose it holds a special meaning as far as I'm concerned, because I wouldn't be here.
I have one issue that's much different than anything else I've ever heard, but I would say this. The population of the state of Maryland is 12% African American. My understanding is less than 2% of the employees that are employed inside or outside of the bridge, and all the folks that come in, the boats, that is less than 3% of African Americans are employed there. So I have some real concerns about the employment. All of the folks that I know were on that boat that were working, none of them were us. And I'm just saying, to have thousands upon thousands of people working on some way, shape, or form with coming into the port, we need to have a serious discussion about employment.
That is a serious employment discrepancy, because the differential that's pretty large. And the young men who lost their lives were of Guatemalan descent, Latino descent, who lost their lives, and there's still 6 missing. But they can be presumed as dead at this point.
I thought it was 4. I thought there were 4 missing. They found 2.
Okay, I thought there was 6, but
yeah, there were initially 6. They did find 2 in a red truck.
in the truck. That's right. That's correct.
Yesterday.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
In every program, I'm learning a lot about it, but I do have some serious questions.
I have some serious questions as well, and I do not. I'll make this perfectly known. I do not ever accept what comes out on the media, radio, TV, government officials. I don't care who you are, mayors, governors, presidents. I don't ever accept anything that comes out on that radio or TV. I do my own research because of their folks. There are things that I know. Oh my goodness! I do my own research. Then I come up with a conclusion myself. I'm not going to sit here. I don't have rice pudding between my ears, and I only accept what you say, and that's it. I'm not stupid. I'm an intelligent man. I can think for myself. So that's what I do, and I implore everyone, do that. Even whatever I'm saying, confirm it. Look it up. If you hear something from the outsiders, don't just take it as gospel. Look it up. Confirm it, because we know what we're talking about. So that's the type of information we bring, and we're gonna stick to that. But what I want to get to now, Doc, you have to hear this, because what's going on out there, and I know about what's going on out there with the sexual trafficking and sexual abuse, sexual harassment, all types of what is going on with denigrating human beings through these horrific acts that are going on. And you people out there who are perpetrating them, Cat Williams made it known on Shay on Shannon Sharp show on YouTube. He made it known. He said they're 2024, and he even named him. He even named P. Diddy, as well as others, you sexual harassers and abusers and sex traffickers, all you people. And I'm talking about in government too. It's coming out. All the stuff that you people have been doing and perpetrating and getting away with, and I'm going to go ahead and play it. Doc, go ahead and give a listen to this, and we're going to talk about this. Let me cue it up.
The first ones here with about 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least.
Diddy, you good, bro? Get the article there. Roll the clip.
The rapper and music executive perhaps being linked to a sex trafficking investigation.
Hold on a second. Sex trafficking investigation. Look at all that oppression. That's oppression of black men in America. Look at that house. That's gotta be a $15 million house. Anyway, let me keep going.
We got some shots of a few people coming out of the home. Those people have been detained. Now, we're trying to still connect the dots. We do have some sources on scene here that we're getting this information from. We're actually the first ones here with about 30 different law enforcement vehicles at least. There are 3 Bearcats on scene here. This just all unfolded, Sandra, I would say, less than 10 minutes ago. We got here even before the crime scene.
I want to see that affidavit. I want to see that affidavit. I want to see that affidavit. Let me put this in perspective for you guys real quick. People just don't raid somebody's house because they got information yesterday. When SWAT team get coordinated, I was on the SWAT team. This is an entire investigation with informants and everybody. They have been investigating P. Diddy, I would imagine, for months, several months at a time before they actually did this. There had to be a search warrant executed. There had to be an affidavit of service presented to a judge, and the judge had to get authorization. This doesn't come just from the police department. The judge has to approve this. And I want to read the affidavit because they have to have probable cause to believe that these people are involved in a criminal enterprise or sex trafficking or whatever the case may be. Therefore, they have evidence of something. They don't just randomly say, I think you're sex trafficking because Fannie Mae down the street said you had a kid come in here. No, they got evidence, informants, snitches, before they can get to this point where they're taking people out with Bearcats and all kind of other stuff. I just want y'all to put that in perspective.
Tape came up. So we're just down the hill. If you look up the street where Tony is right now to the right, you'll see one of those Bearcats, and law enforcement on the other side of those bushes basically is.
Let me tell you how granular this is too. I just want to put this in perspective. When the SWAT team hit a house, they know exactly who's in the house 99.9% of the time. How many people in the house, what ages and names of all these people. And a lot of times somebody snitched and they set it up to where we can go in and we know who there and who ain't there because our informant is just checking and all that. So we know who in there. We know if there's kids in there. We know if there's adults. We know who we're looking for 99.9% of the time. So when you see all these people in handcuffs and they decided to hit the house at this time because they knew these people would be in there. Okay. And that doesn't mean everybody is guilty. That just means that they have to investigate it, and through an investigation, they need to detain everybody in the house.
To Bad Boy Films, which is part of Bad Boy Entertainment, and the home in particular is registered not only Bad Boy Films, but to one of P. Diddy's daughters.
Of liking to video either him abusing other people or forcing other people to abuse each other for his pleasure, and I would record all of that. So I think those are some of the things that the feds are looking for. I think they're looking for other types of evidence to corroborate the statements that were made by Little Rod, by Cassie Ventura, and the other people that have come forward saying that he did abuse them. So they're looking for corroborating evidence. But the one thing is consistent is that there is no statute of limitations on murder. So if P. Diddy had actually killed this person, or the person died as a result of their injuries, now J-Lo could be brought into the mix as a co-defendant because of the fact that the person has passed away. Bringing all these A-list celebrities, but somewhere in a back room or somewhere in another wing, horrible things were happening. So the fact that Prince Harry was there does not necessarily mean he was participating in what was happening. Possible? But I don't see that happening. I see him kind of going the path of R. Kelly, where again, for so many decades, he was able to act with impunity and just get away with harming so many, young women. But eventually, he had to pay the piper.
Everybody has got to pay the piper. I don't care who you are. I don't care what type of movie star, rap mogul, government official, elected or appointed. I don't care who you are. Everybody, eventually, time is patient. Time stops for no man. And what you all hear, what you people hear who are propagating this, who are doing this, who are involved in this, what you hear now, listening to the outsiders, is the sound of inevitability. Because eventually, you're going to have your day, your judgment day. Doc, what do you think of this situation with these sex traffickers?
I want to say first and foremost, I'm in prayer for the individuals, the innocent individuals that are being used and abused. Because sex trafficking does take place, and it's actually in just about every state you come to. And normally it's dealing with folks that have more than sufficient enough money, and they basically are using and abusing women, especially women of color, and women with certain pigmentation because of how well they look. I'm real troubled, and I'm real troubled about Diddy's name being, incorporated as being allegedly involved in the situation. I'm looking for more information, but it's very troubling. And if you know anything about sex trafficking, it affects a lot of people, and a lot of these women, at the end of the day, lose their lives. So, it's very troubling to me, very troubling.
Yes, it is. It's extremely troubling. And here's the thing with this topic, because we're going to be covering this because there's going to be more information coming out about what's going on in Baltimore City regarding sex trafficking, regarding sexual abuse, regarding sexual harassment, which is rampant. Oh my, look, what's going on with these people perpetrating this? I call them the lowest form of scumbags on the earth. These are the lowest forms of trash, scumbag human beings, and you can only pray that God, Jesus, Yeshua, Jesus Christ will save their pathetic souls from the damnation that they have waiting for them. But this has been going on, and I actually got in contact with Ivan Bates, our state's attorney's office, to get a copy of how he's fighting, how he's going to fight these sex crimes and abuse, what's going on, including harassment, abuse, trafficking, all of this, all of the above. And I was promised by Hassan Giordano, his assistant, that, and I have the receipts, that I would get a copy. Never received, this was months ago, 6-7 months ago, this was months ago. I never received a copy of this plan where he's supposed to be fighting these horrific acts. So Ivan Bates, you are on notice, bruh. Cough it up, or do you not care? Maybe you should be a one-term state's attorney. I mean, that's what Doc, what do you think of that? Because I'm going to move on, but I just had to say that.
Well, I've not had the pleasure of meeting our city state's attorney, so, you know, I had to kind of be careful of coming up with impression when I have not met him. But I would say this, that we have invited him numerous times to the one community in Baltimore City, the one district that did see a 20% increase in homicides, because all of the elected officials, and I say all, because none of them will admit to what happened in the Western District. And I'm just saying, Ivan Bates talks a good game, but I haven't seen any real positive results that positively affect my community in the Western District. Matthew Henson, I've not seen that one positive thing, and we have literally begged him to come.
Wow.
And have not had him come.
Oh man, not a good look. Not a good look, Mr. State's Attorney Ivan Bates. I met him a couple of times at a few events. Really didn't talk. It's pretty much a hey hi type of thing. You know, didn't say much, but he knows who I am, and he knows who I am. Okay, but let me go move on, because I want to segue into my call with Don Scoggins and Terry Sims by playing this. And speaking of raids, let me go ahead and play this. Cue it up.
Maryland state prosecutors raided the home of Baltimore Mayor Sheila Dixon this morning and were inside her house for hours, an indication that the 2-year investigation into City Hall spending has widened. State and city police emerged from the house around 1:45 p.m. with several boxes, folders, and a blue cooler they had carried in earlier. For more than 2 years, the state prosecutor's office has been examining spending irregularities at City Hall. The probe has taken investigators to the city's development agency, finance department, and board of estimates. The investigation has so far resulted in 2 guilty pleas, one related to a firm that employed Dixon's sister, and a second related to $500,000 the city paid Dixon's former campaign chairman for work a Dixon aide performed without a contract. Maryland State Prosecutor Robert Rohrbaugh would not comment on the raid. Dixon and her children were at home when investigators arrived at 6:30 a.m., officials said. Reporters and television crews from the region gathered across the street during the search of Dixon's house. Dixon's lawyer, Dale P. Kelberman, said he had not seen the search warrant or any other paperwork presented by prosecutors. He said neither he nor Dixon know what the prosecutors are looking for. Sterling Clifford, a spokesman for the mayor and city police department, said he also did not know why prosecutors were at Dixon's house. City Hall leaders expressed shock at the news this morning.
As a way to say to the citizens of Baltimore that we can do better, we can have more accountability, we can be able to take monies that are given to us from our federal partners and our state partners.
Dixon and Scott aren't the only ones running. Wendy Basel, a Baltimore City teacher and president of the Upper Fells Point Neighborhood Association, is also running. So is Wendell Freeman, a small business owner in the city. Baltimore businessman Bob Wallace may also run. He's launched an exploratory committee.
Well, that was a few months ago, but Bob's running. Of course, Wendy. We're going to have Don Scoggins, the Republican. He's running as a Republican candidate. We're going to have him on in just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Diddy should run for mayor. I mean, that's what you do. You get rated, and then you run for mayor 3 times after you get rated by Homeland Security, the FBI, whoever. So I think Diddy could be a candidate in another 4 years. I mean, that's the way in Baltimore for sure, because that's how we roll. We like to put people who have criminal backgrounds and who are deviants. We like them to be mayor. That's how Baltimore is. Doc, no comment?
I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to keep it as nice as I can.
Yeah.
But I would say this: that we can and should and must do better in electing people who represent us.
Oh my goodness, yes.
And we're digging down at the bottom of the barrel to get candidates to run. And I'm saying there are numerous numbers of people that live in Baltimore City that would do us well to come and represent us. And I think to a certain degree, we're in the mess that we're in because we have done a poor job in electing people to represent us. And, at some point, we need to say enough is enough. We're in the shape that we're in today in Baltimore City as a result of the people that we have put, sadly enough, into office.
I think the city's full of a bunch of suckers. I'm point blank. I don't know if it's the water, what's in the water, but Baltimore City, the residents, that's why my whole family, at least on my mother's side, my whole family left Baltimore. I mean, I resided in Baltimore, my parents, my grandparents, the church is still there, of course, across from Pimlico Racetrack, Manor Bible Baptist Church, the church my grandfather founded in Baltimore City. But my uncles, aunts, everybody left. And I'm sure there are a lot of families, like my family, that has left, and the population is racing towards 500,000 and under, because people are leaving, and it's just a tragedy that you keep putting these bottom feeders in, and the people in Baltimore City are so easily suckered. Oh yes, she apologized. It was so long ago. The flowers she planted were beautiful. The flowers she planted were so beautiful. I love the flowers. This is what a lady actually said at a town hall. I'm not making this up. She wanted to vote for Sheila Dixon because of the flowers. Well, what about her criminal activity? We can forget that. The flowers were so lovely. This is how screwed up the citizenry in Baltimore City. Sorry to say, I was born and raised here, Johns Hopkins Hospital, so I can say what I want to say because I'm from Baltimore and was born and raised here. But this is getting out of hand. It needs to stop. It needs to stop now with this election. And we're going to have Scoggins. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me go ahead and give Don a call and Terry Sims, since I'm bringing up his opponent. Well, not now, but if he wins the Republican nomination, his opponent could be, hopefully not, please. I hope Don, if he wins the Republican nomination, I hope he had for the primary, I hope he goes against somebody else other than Brandon or Sheila. Phew, 2 disgrazias. Let me get Don's number now. Okay, Doc, hold on just a second. I'm going to call Don Scoggins, Donald E. Scoggins. He likes that E in the middle of his name. You got to say Donald E. Scoggins. You got to say that. My mother gets on me, why don't you use your middle initial D? Sean D. When I sign my name, you got to do the D, and it just, I'd rather it's a lot easier signing my name, but let me go on. Okay, here's Don. Let me we can give him a call. I hope he picks up. Okay, we're giving Donald E. Scoggins, Republican candidate for mayor, a call. He should be on board, waiting, unless he went to some very important meeting. What's with these people in these meetings? Pick up, Don. You know I'm calling you. Can you believe this guy? Really?
Please leave your message for Don.
Okay, let's go to Terry. Doc, I tried Don. He didn't pick up. Let's go to Terry Sims. Okay, and I'm going to try get Terry on the line because Don blew it. He'll probably call in later. Boy, these candidates. Phew. Wow. And it gave you okay.
Hello?
Okay. Terry. Hello, Terry. You're on the Outsiders with myself and Doc Cheatham. How you doing?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm great, except I just called Don. He didn't pick up.
Oh man, what number did you call?
I called his regular number. I can't say it, but I called his number. I call him on all the time. He didn't pick up. We'll talk with you. Maybe he'll call in. A lot of times people call in. But this is what's going on. I got Doc on the line. Doc, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. How you doing, my good friend? I'm good, brother. How you doing? Woke up. It's a good day in the neighborhood.
Well, this is what I want to ask you, Terry, because we spoke, and I spoke with Don, and your campaign, how things are going. With Don winning, let's say he wins, and you guys want to get that W. How is he going to go about beating this Democratic, Kool-Aid drinking, Democratic voting, Baltimore City citizenry? But I mean, what are your plans? How are you going to go about doing that?
Terry.
Hello, Terry. Hello, Terry. Doc, are you still there? Is everybody still there?
Yeah, I'm still here, but I don't hear Terry.
Yeah, I see it. He's on. I see the time rolling. Okay, now he's not on. Wow, that's not a good look. I'm going to go out and say this, since I've been a campaign strategist advisor. What's going on right now? Terry, really? I mean, hold on. He's calling again. Hey, Terry. Terry, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't know what happened. But what I was saying is, we would.
Oh, boy.
We want to run an honest campaign, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go on our website, you can look at the plans that we have for Baltimore. We have some amazing things that we're going to do to bring change to Baltimore. So we are hoping that Baltimoreans are smart enough to see that the city has been in the same condition under the same people managing it for the last, 60-something years?
About 60 years, that's correct.
At this point in time, it's time to do something new. You see what I'm saying? We can't keep on going in the same direction, expecting things to change on its own. It's not going to change on its own because of the system in place. They want certain things to be in position, like they want the drugs to be there because there's certain people that make a lot of money off the drugs.
Yes, they do.
So
yes, they
don't really want to get rid of the main problems. They just don't want it in their neighborhoods. So what they're doing is they're pushing it into lower income communities where a lot of us are having to deal with stuff that we don't even live that lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So what we want to do is just get Baltimoreans to understand that we are an honest campaign. And if the leading candidate actually does win the nomination, it should be just easy pick. You want a crook or you want an honest person in office?
I think they want a crook. I think Baltimore, I just said it. You'll hear on the podcast because I called you in. But as we're doing the podcast, I said earlier, I think Baltimore likes to have bottom feeder. Brandon, I mean, good grief, he's dumb as a box of hammers. I think they like to have crooks and dumbbells in. I mean, right now, that's all you get. You get crooks and dumbbells, or both, a combination. In the Safe Streets business, Speaking of raiding, the FBI raided Safe Streets. Let me see. Hey, Terry, could you tell me who started Safe Streets?
Sheila Dixon.
Bingo. Say that with more gusto. Sheila Dixon started Safe Streets. Okay, so now, don't you, I mean, can you see there's a correlation between FBI raids and Safe Street, yes, and Sheila Dixon, who was FBI raided, and Safe Streets was FBI raided. Duh. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, that, hey, this is not a good combination.
Right. And you got to look at the timeline. The last time Sheila Dixon was in office, I know she tries to say, oh, her crime rate was going down, or she had a good crime rate, but the thing is,
she did.
That is the generation where it was the most Bloods and Crips this city has ever seen.
Her crime rate was horrific.
Yeah, but it's because of it was a lot of gangs that came about during that time. And what I believe what the Safe Streets initiative was to take control of the gangs. You see what I'm saying? Control of what was going on in the streets. And I believe that they allowed BGF to be a major member of that organization to be able to go to the streets and actually take control. You know how some people think you can control, like if you look at the cartel in Mexico. The cartel in Mexico controls their neighborhoods using gang violence. You know what I mean? And I think they thought of something like that. Maybe if we can get the gangs involved, maybe if we can pay them to stop killing each other. You know what I mean? I think it was one of those type of initiatives.
Well, I'll tell you.
That's just speculation. I don't have nothing, but that's just my speculation on that subject.
Well, I tell you what. On Kim Klasik's show, Kim's Doc's buddy, even though she stood me up as to be the co-host, moderator of the event, the Mayoral Forum. Okay. But Sheila did an interview. Kim Klasik interviewed Sheila Dixon. And Kim brought up the BGF, Black Guerrilla Family, part of Safe Streets, or mixed in with them, or whatever's going on with that mess. Kim Klasik brought it up in the interview, and Sheila said, I don't know anything about it. Even though...
Just like she doesn't know anything about... David Smith being her major financial donor. She don't know nothing about that either.
Yeah, she doesn't know anything about it.
Schultz clearly told the newspaper that he the one that gave her David Smith's phone number.
Yeah,
So they can be able to talk.
And she basically called him a liar. I never had that conversation. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Hey, Sheila, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me. Go ahead, correct me if we're wrong. What we're talking about is wrong. Correct us. Your campaign should get in touch with the outsiders and say, we're the Dixon campaign, and what you said on your broadcast, on your podcast, was incorrect. Say it. Do it. Get your campaign manager, look like he just got out of college. Get him to do it. Do it.
I hope she doesn't try to do that, because this is one thing about
she's not doing nothing.
Things I actually know about. I don't try to put out stuff unless, like what I just said, I said, oh, that's my speculation. I will let you know when it's just my opinion.
She's not going to do a thing.
I'm saying about, yeah, I'm just saying.
She's not doing anything.
Facts. I'm saying for your listeners, what I'm telling you about is absolute facts, and I mean it's on the Baltimore voters. They got a choice this year. The choice is to remain the same and go down the same road, or change and try something new. And it's completely up to the Baltimore voters whether or not they want to.
Well,
my thing is, I'm tired of the prostitutes and the drug addicts out front my front door.
Well, I want you to hear something. Terry, I want you to hear something. He's on a roll. And then you can get back to what you're saying, because I want you to hear this. Okay, this is the very person we're speaking about. Oh, and before I play this, I reached out, because I'm fair. I reached out to the Republican candidates, and it includes Michael Moore, who was on our show, The Outsiders. We're speaking with Terry Sims, who's campaign manager for Donald E. Scoggins, who's a Republican. He's running on a Republican ticket for mayor. And I reached out to Shannon Wright. And she got in at the last minute. I reached out and invitation to come on the show. did not hear anything from her. So as far as I'm concerned, she doesn't want the outsiders audience, anybody who listens to the show, or I don't know, anyone really, I guess she doesn't want them to get her message. She doesn't care. So I'm just letting you know, I reached out to her because I'm fair. I want to have the candidates on the show. But I want to play this. I want to play this. I want you to hear. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Terry. What would you want to say?
No, I was saying that's not a problem, but like I said, I don't really try to. I don't know Shannon Wright enough to
well, I don't know her either.
Anything negative about her. I just know that her campaign hasn't been too active.
Oh yeah, she didn't get back to me.
Maybe she's doing something that I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe she got a trick play, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Vulcan mind meld. She's getting people to vote for her like a Kreskin. She's just sending waves out of thought. Oh man! Well, hold on. Let me play this. Tell me what you think about this clip. Let me cue it up. Okay, here we go.
To that school want to learn, that they're able to do that. I want to apologize that I had to leave because I had another commitment, but I did invite Yolanda Pullian up to take my seat since she was part of the panel or the list of individuals, so I don't know if that can happen, but I have another commitment that I need to go to, so I wanted to apologize and not staying. All right, you'll have to unmute your mic.
You say an apology. What I owe the citizens is to move on, bring closure to this, so we can continue to stay focused on the street.
Why take this agreement and not fight the charges? You seem determined throughout this whole process to fight the charges.
I'd like to answer that question now, but I can't. And so, out of respect for the system, contact me on February 6th.
I definitely think that she should apologize to the citizens of Baltimore, and I think that maybe at this time she should bow gracefully.
Sharon Davis is juror number 6. Sharon believes Dixon got off easy with the unanimous finding of guilty on embezzlement charges.
Some people think they're above the law, and once you get to a certain level in life, you ought to be remembered. You cannot be above the law. And she's like anybody else. You gotta pay the price.
I believe that she should resign. You know, we deserve a new mayor and somebody that's gonna support and do what they should do.
Thank you, Jane. Theft is the most serious charge. This indictment alleges in at least one case that Sheila Dixon stole gift cards donated to the city council president's office for needy families and used them for herself.
Yeah, you served as mayor of Baltimore for 3 terms, and as an elected official, the bottom line is there's no room for simple mistakes here, mixing up gift cards, whatever. There's no room for that if you're an elected official.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation, particularly when, you know, the suggestion was that these were cards that were supposed to be going to needy families. But, you know, with the press and the public, and talk about, first of all, apologize to the city for putting the city in this light, even though she clearly will maintain that she didn't do anything wrong. I understand that as a legal matter. But I think she ought to, you know, apologize to the city for the situation.
The image of Mayor Sheila Dixon in the defendant's chair left a strong impression on the citizens of Baltimore, many of whom are appalled that she's just now announcing the end of her political career.
I want to apologize that I have to leave because
I want to apologize. I'm appalled that she's running again. I'm also appalled that a judge said, oh, after a certain amount of time, you can run again so you can be mayor again after what she did. I'm appalled by all of that. Doc, I'm going to have Doc ask you a question as well, Terry, but what do you think of all that?
All right, so I think we got to get back to what actually happened, because it's bigger than gift cards.
Oh, I know.
I remember back when the charges actually came out. She was actually, what was said was, what was alleged at the time was that she was giving political favors to her boyfriend and her boyfriend's friends. In exchange, they was giving her gift cards. Now, these gift cards were payment. You see what I'm saying? This is things that drug dealers do. Drug dealers do this. And people that steal people identities and stuff, they like to use gift cards because it's untraceable.
So she was getting payments.
So she was getting paid in these gift cards, but what happened was, when it came time to go to court, the people that she was getting the gift cards from didn't want to get charged with certain crimes. So what they said is they donated to Sheila Dixon, which set Sheila Dixon up for a crime. You see what I'm saying? It set her up to take the fall for distributing discard or stealing gift card.
So she was getting paid
because they didn't want all the facts to come out.
So she was getting paid for services.
Was the gift cards? The actual charges was way more.
Terry, I'm asking a question. So she was getting paid for services rendered.
Yeah, basically she was given.
There's another name for that.
Contracts.
There's another name for that. I'm not going to get into it, but you're getting paid for services rendered. I'm not going to get it. You're getting paid. You know, you're basically whoring out the office of mayor. You're whoring, like in the Bible, you go a whoring, like the Israelites would go worship other entities instead of God, other gods with a small g. And then, so no, I'm serious. So what you're doing is you are, and that's what a lot of them do. So that's what you're doing. That's what was done.
See what you gotta understand, though. The thing is, she did it and it's done, right?
Yeah.
Now she's asking for forgiveness, but I can't forgive you, and this is my problem. I can't forgive you for something that you haven't even accepted. You haven't even accepted responsibility for what you did.
Exactly.
You're still trying to make it seem like this is all about gift cards when you know you were sitting there throwing way more than just giving away gift cards.
Exactly. You're saying what I'm saying. You're saying what I'm saying. I said the same thing. You're asking for forgiveness and all this stuff, but you're not admitting that you are a criminal and you committed a criminal act. You're not admitting it. So what you're saying and acting forgiveness is the point of your asking for the forgiveness is a moot point. You're not being honest. You're being dishonest. Do people understand that concept? Because it seems like a lot of people have thick heads and it's not getting through that you have to be sorry for and admit what you did first. If you don't admit, listen people, because I have people I know and I don't know how they don't get it. Maybe they want to get something out of Sheila getting in office. But you have to admit first what you did wrong before there can be any forgiveness, dumbbell, knucklehead.
Right.
So that's what has to be done. Where's Terry? Another question. Where's Don? Should I call him again?
Sure. Did you try calling him again? I can try calling him, but
No, I have to do it. I have to do it. Hold on. I'm gonna because I want. He's the candidate. You're the campaign manager, and what you're saying is to truth. But before I do that, Doc, did you have any questions for Terry, based on what we're talking about, or any other?
I guess a question that I would have, I guess at this point in time, I know that there is an offer that's being made purportedly for the new appointment of an old CEO of Baltimore City Public School System. I'm trying to be kind. What is your position as the campaign manager for Don? What is his position with reference to the rehiring of the CEO of Baltimore City School System?
Well, as far as that goes, what we want to do is treat the schools, right? We want to build a curriculum around STEM program, trades, and financial literacy and entrepreneurship. So we want to find a superintendent or a CEO that has background in that is about that mission. You see what I'm saying? Right now, what we are considering is removing the current person in office, and if we can, because I don't even think we can actually, I'm not sure.
You have to work with the board to do that. And the mayor controls the board. So I'm pretty sure the mayor wants her gone, then she will be gone. I'm just going out on a limb.
That's what we want to do. We want to put people in place that have our objective so we can actually get this accomplished. Right now, she has been in office for, I think, 7 years.
Let's say her name. Let's say her name, Dr. Mengele. Let's say her name, because I'm stopping this. Stop. Let's say her name. Her name is Dr. Mengele, Dr. Sonia Santelises. That's her name. She's the CEO, and she has just crushed, destroyed these kids. They can't read, they can't write. Baltimore City has one of the worst school systems in the country. Okay, continue.
Yeah, but But it's not just her, it's the parents too. But back to her. She has been in office for 7 years, and over the years we have seen a steady decline in math and reading and school attendance. And these are the things that I believe she was put in the office to fix. And then we had something a couple years ago about testing, where they was cheating on the testing or something.
Well, there's a whole lot of things that happened with her in that position. I mean, look at the Chris Patz. But wait. Listen to people need to understand this, okay? All you have to do, whether you like Fox 45 or not, I have problems with David Smith is doing and trying to put Sheila Dixon in. But we also have some things in common that we're fighting on a similar line, the same goal on other issues. But when it comes to Chris Patz of Fox 45 and what he is doing, his reporting on Santa Lisa's and the school system is par excellence. It's fantastic. So people, if you want to know what's going on in the Baltimore school system, pull up Chris Patz, pull up his reporting on that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I need to let the people know that.
Yeah, definitely. Project Baltimore.
Project Baltimore, that's it. So reading and writing, getting that done, and that's important. Now here's another thing, because I want to, let me do this. Hold on a second, because I've got something I really want to talk about, and I want to have Don on this call because he's the candidate, and I'm going to call him up. He called me while I was in the middle of the show. I couldn't pick up because I'm in the middle of the podcast, and it wasn't time. I told him 2:30. He called about 15 minutes early. So let's see if he'll pick up. We're trying Donald E. Scoggins again. We want to get him on. He's running for mayor. My producer. Okay, I don't know what's going on with Don. He's not calling in. Shannon Wright's didn't come on either, so no. But anyway, this is what I want to play. This has to do what's going on with a Republican. He was a former president. His name is Donald Trump. We all know him, okay? And I wanted to get Don's comments on this. Jeez. But anyway, I'm going to get your comment on it. But I want to get the comments on this. I'm going to cue this up. And this has to do with the real estate situation. New York, Letitia James, the lawsuit, the bond, $464 million bond, which is, that goes completely against the 8th Amendment. You can't, oh boy. Anyway, and it got dropped down $175 million for the bond that former President Trump needed to put up in New York. So let me go ahead and cue that up and give me your comment.
Comes to this fraudulent business fraud case that has resulted in what was a $460-some million fine against Trump, almost $500 million, okay, the bond. Now that has been dropped down to $175 million or so, and Jon Stewart had a problem with Kevin O'Leary defending Trump, because Kevin O'Leary, as a real estate investor, basically said, look, if you're going after Trump for this fraud, then basically you can go after anybody who is in the real estate business, because he wasn't doing anything much different than what most people do when it comes to real estate, okay, which is to try to paint their assets in the best light.
Take a look. Surprised to hear this from Kevin O'Leary, the guy who's such an asshole. Wait. That even the other people on Shark Tank thinks he's an asshole. Now, he's very chill. I'm surprised to hear that he's so chill about overvaluing something that he thinks is victimless, because when someone tries to do that to him...
Which one of you do I absolutely tear to pieces now on a $28 million valuation? You think this is worth $10 million? Absolutely. Now I'm going to rip your pieces. Are you out of your mind? Your valuation is insane. Your valuation is crazy. I think that's a crazy valuation. I think your valuation is stinky poo-poo.
Because again, what he says is that, well, Trump ended up underpaying taxes because what he should have paid taxes on was what he thought he could sell the properties for, not what the government said that the property was worth. Hence, he overinflated the value of his assets and then undervalued his assets when it came time to pay taxes, which is exactly what Jon Stewart is doing right here, right? He's quite literally overvaluing his asset by saying, hey, look, I'm going to sell it for $17.5 billion. He didn't pay taxes on that. He paid taxes on a low amount of $847,000. And I guarantee you, if Jon Stewart was to try to get a loan and to use his property for collateral, that he'd probably be trying to argue to the bank that, hey, this assessor valuation is not accurate, right? I can probably sell it for this much, $17.5 billion, rather than this. And that's probably what he would, encourage the bank to use as the value of his asset to get for that, which is exactly what Kevin O'Leary was talking about. That is what he was complaining about. He was like, look, if you're charging Trump for this, you can charge anybody for this. You can quite literally charge Jon Stewart for this. You can charge Jon Stewart for this. And I believe that this is in Letitia James's district. Why is Letitia James not going after Jon Stewart for this? You can charge Jon Stewart for this. And I believe that this is in Letitia James's district. Why is Letitia James not going after Jon Stewart for doing this exact same thing that she accused Trump of doing? This is not a political witch hunt, even though people like Jon Stewart are able to get away with doing things that Trump can't get away with. And then once they go after Trump, they give him the biggest fine in history, right? Again, this is amazing, absolutely amazing. Reminds me of the classified document stuff, right? Trump gets charged for mishandling classified documents. Biden doesn't, right? Biden gets away with it. You got Hillary Clinton using a private email server to exchange classified information. Information that should be exchanged on federal servers, right? But yet, she doesn't face any charges.
Yeah, it's an unfair playing field. And that's what's going on with, people don't know anything about real estate and how that works. Commercial real estate, even residential. I mean, you have a house, you want to get as much for it as you can. So you tell someone, hey, the house is $350,000, $400,000 or whatever. And then the bank tells you with their appraisers what it's worth. There's a whole process that you go through. But Jon Stewart, obviously, the hypocrite, he did the same thing Trump did, and that's what business people do. That's how they conduct business. Letitia James, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what's going on. Judge Elderon, $464 million. I wanted to know, since Don was a real estate guy as well, and I did mortgages and real estate, I wanted to know what Don thought about all this and how this, in Baltimore, how he's going to improve things with the housing and real estate in Baltimore City. That's how I was going to segue into it. Have you guys talked about this?
Yeah, I can't really speak on his opinion on what's going on with Donald Trump and his situation, because that would be his opinion. You know what I mean? My opinion might absolutely differ from his opinion.
No, what's your opinion?
Go ahead.
Yeah, what's your opinion? What's your opinion? My producer is saying don't ask that question.
I leave everything up to the people that have been training in the fields of their fields of study for years.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Me as a layman, I can have a speculation about something, but I could be totally wrong. You know what I mean? So I let the courts play out. I think anybody that has committed a crime should be prosecuted, whether it's a white collar crime, blue collar, whatever color you want to name, should be prosecuted if you are found to be able to be charged. You know what I mean? That's what you got a preliminary hearing for, to see if you have enough charges to go to court. You know what I mean? And I believe anybody, right, left, if you broke the law, you should go to court.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Now
that's my opinion about. I'm not gonna go too deep into Trump, but it's my opinion about it.
Okay, here's the thing.
You got the day in court, and just like anybody else, because if I walk down the street and a police officer just wants to say I did something, I got to go to court for that, even though I didn't.
Okay, well, what do you think about a police officer? I got to get a word in edgewise as Terry gets rolling. Hey, Terry? What do you think if you get detained by a police officer and they don't tell you why?
Well, I think that first off, that causes confusion. Anytime that you stop somebody, you should tell them why they are being stopped. Especially in Baltimore City, where we already have a problem with police officers because of the generations of mispolice.
But this is what I'm saying. Okay, You get stopped by the cops, Terry, or you're going somewhere, into a building, and then they say, no, you stay here. What would you do? Now I'm curious. So we're going a little off top because Don, I was going to ask him these questions. But what would you do as a citizen?
Tell me to stop. First off, stop it. You know why I'm stopping? Just for the same reason the people stopped at that bridge. You don't know with that point. It could be something really going on, and they're telling you to stop for a reason, and they don't have time.
But you're asking. No. There's nothing going on. You're going into a building. You were already in the building. I'm going to give full disclosure. No, full disclosure. You're already in the building. Nothing's going on that's going to stop you. The building's not burning, anything like that. You're going back into the building, and they detain you. What are you going to do? Then you ask them, why are you detaining us? And they don't tell you.
I'm a sue.
Thank you.
Because first off, you ain't had no right to stop me. I'm not going. I used to. Back in my young days, I used to fuss and argue, but now I've learned that there's no point. There's no point of fussing and arguing because they're not going to believe nothing you say. The captain not going to believe you. Nobody's going to believe you. So you might as well just go through it and then handle the situation after. Get out the situation the best way you can. Put it like that.
Yeah, well, myself and Tyrone both experienced that at City Hall. That's what happened. We were detained, and then we were perp walked. We were perp walked through City Hall. We had to get our stuff, and they perp walked us out of City Hall with absolutely no reason.
Explain.
Just because somebody in City Hall ain't want you there.
My producer keeps saying, explain what a perp walk is. If anybody listening to this show doesn't know what a perp walk is, ask your mommy and daddy, because you must be 3 or 4 years old. I'm sure the adults understand what a perp walk is. When the cops walk you in somewhere, they go to your job and arrest you, and then we weren't arrested, but they walk you out so everybody can see you. It's embarrassing. It's done to humiliate. Okay, so with Don, because I guess we're going to try to get him back on. Doc, do you have any other questions for Terry and the Scoggins campaign?
Well, I would ask this, and I appreciate him being here. Of course,
yes, we do.
It would have been icing on the cake if you had Don here. But I guess a question and concern that I have is the fact that we had every elected official, and all of the elected officials in Baltimore City are Democrats. But we had, starting with the mayor, every elected official, every newspaper, every television has reported that homicides went down in Baltimore City, neglecting the fact that one district, the Western District, received a 28% increase, and not one elected official has really spoken on that issue. It's like, I think both black and white Democrats, because that's what we have in Baltimore City, don't give a damn about the people that lost their lives in the Western District, because all of them are saying all we had was a decrease. Well, in our Western District, we had an increase, 28% in homicides. And I'm not going to shut up about it. I'm going to keep talking about it, because no elected official, in my eyes, has the right not to tell the truth about something like a homicide. It's like if your mother or sister or brother was killed, you'll be saying something about it. But because it doesn't affect any of our elected officials, all of them went along to get along, acting like homicides didn't go up. And the excuse that they're using, I'll close down with this, oh, we changed the district. Well, I don't give a damn who changed it. You changed it. And we got an increase in homicides, not a decrease.
Right, and there's reasons behind that. It's not the change of the districts. It's mainly because of gentrification. What they have been doing is displacing communities. They pushed a lot of the people that were low income and were, I'm going to say, people that are have that mentality to do those type of crimes. They push those people over west and into the counties. This is why the counties' crime rate has spiked, and also West Baltimore's crime rate
Hello? Terry? Doc, you still there?
I'm still here. I think we lost him.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Okay. Maybe you'll call back. But here's the thing. You're right. They're not telling the truth about the homicides. First of all, the homicides all over the country. Brandon didn't do anything. Monty, all that crap. Safe streets, FBI raided. Okay, all this stuff. They didn't do it. Was all over the country because of COVID. The homicides were spiking because of COVID. People being forced to stay in, forced to do things they don't want to do. Homicide went up. And all over the country, it went down. Brandon had nothing to do with it. And another thing about the truth about the homicides, he lied. He lied about his campaign promise to reduce homicide by 15% each year. The homicide rate for 2023 should have been no higher than 200. What, like 206? So that's how many lives? You're talking about 100 plus lives that he lied about, that he was going to save through reducing the homicide rate 15% every year. So the third year should have been a total of 45%, almost a half. The homicide rate should have been cut almost in half, which it wasn't, nowhere close to his promise. And then he lied about his promise. Oh, I said 15%, period. No, you didn't. You said 15% each year. So you've got a mayor who is a habitual liar. I mean, how can you tell when Brandon Scott's lying when he opens his mouth? So you have a habitual liar, backstabber, BG&E deal, just stabbed the citizens of Baltimore City, just gave them the shiv with that deal by giving control, not ownership, by giving control of the conduit to a major energy conglomerate so they can suck the people dry because now they have control of it. And that's what he did. And he wants to be mayor again. So these two bottom feeders, Sheila Dixon and Brandon Scott, which are horrifications, the worst thing for Baltimore City. The people need to wake up. I don't know if they need to wake up, stop drinking the Kool-Aid, take an antidote to the poison they have in them, and look at the other candidates who are running for mayor, seriously vet and look at them. And Doc, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a report, and this was Fox as well. I give credit where credit is due, even though what they're doing supporting Sheila I think is horrific. But they had a poll, and it showed 9% of the people supporting Slim Shady, 26% of the folks supporting or leaning towards Sheila Dixon. Did you know there was 65% who would not choose between the two of them, would pick other? Did you know that?
No, I hadn't heard that.
65% picked other. That means Fox 45's campaign, public relations campaign for Sheila Dixon, their private public relations campaign to bolster and to push Sheila Dixon, people aren't taking, they're not buying it. You're trying to sell something, you're trying to sell a product that sucks. You know, no pun intended. But that's the type of product that you're trying to push. You're trying to push the Sheila Dixon project, trying to push Sheila Dixon as a product. Yeah, I guess you can call it a project as well. And the people aren't buying it. 26%? 65% saying, oh no, we don't want to have anything to do with these bottom feeders. So something needs to be done by one of these other candidates that's running. Somebody needs to shoot up out of that group and be that top person, Doc.
One thing is happening tonight. I hate to bring up something that's coming on a little bit later, but there is a major discussion that's taking place today at 6 o'clock to discuss these very issues. The fact that a significant number of voters are saying if they had the choice, none of the above would probably win.
Exactly. Yeah, 65%. It might be higher than that. And I said it because I know what I'm talking about. I've been a campaign strategist. I know this stuff. I said it on the podcast, on our podcast. Brandon's numbers are tanking. Sheila's numbers are dropping too. They're trying to figure out what to do because all this trying to push Sheila Dixon's not working. You're trying to shove Sheila Dixon down people's throat. All you see is Fox 45, and that's all you see is Sheila Dixon, Sheila Dixon, Sheila Dixon, Sheila Dixon. And it's not working. Oh, it's Terry back, and then we're gonna end. I'm gonna get him back for a few minutes, and we're gonna end. Oh, okay, Terry back. Okay, he's back.
Sorry, my phone died.
Okay, we got a few minutes left, but I was talking about the homicides, the lie of the 15% reduction campaign promise by Slim Shady of 15% homicide reduction each year of his term. That means in 2023, the homicide rate should have been cut almost in half. So he's failed absolutely miserably. And what's your opinion on that the reduction in homicide he promised and failed so miserably?
It's like what Doc said, though. And I was, before I got cut off, I was kind of elaborating on it. What Brandon Scott did was what we didn't hire him to do. We didn't hire him to come. We hired him to come in the city and lower the crime rate, fix the city, revitalize the city, but we didn't hire him to displace the residents that was already living there. What they have been steadily doing is moving legacy Baltimoreans out the city and moving new residents in the city. And they call that lowering the crime rate. No, that's displacement. You see what I'm saying? You didn't fix the problem at all. You just put it on your county, your surrounding counties.
Yeah,
now they're dealing with issues that are stemming from people that you have displaced out of your community instead of doing the things necessary to actually fix those people. Because there's a mental thing going on right now in Baltimore City.
I mean, there's a spiritual thing as well. Spiritual. Big time. Yeah. This is demonic.
Yeah, it's a major mental conditioning that has been done to a lot of Baltimoreans, and until that's fixed, people are going to continue to act the way they act because it's in their minds to be so. People have been in survival mode for so long, being forced to survive in these environments. You know what I mean? And they become products, like they say, products of their environment.
Well, that's what's going on as well.
Because since you have to survive, because in certain areas of Baltimore, you are forced to survive. You know what I mean?
You can't read and write. How are you going to do anything if you can't read and write? And you come out of the Baltimore City school system, you can't read, you can't write, you're not proficient at math. That is a gateway right into the prison system, and that's being done on purpose. Thank you, Dr. Sonia Santelises.
Right.
And why don't people focus on that? It's a gateway to crime. If you can't read and you can't write, the only option you have is to go into a criminal. Well, it's not the only. There are other things you can do. But for the most part, they're going to go into the easier buck, and that's going to be into the life of crime. It is a prison, there's a pipeline to the prison system through the school system. I will again, thanks a whole lot, Dr. Santelises. She's in charge of it.
Because remember that study they did with the rats, when the rats in the box, when they used to put certain things in, like they put crack cocaine in the corner and found out that crack got rats real addicted and they started acting a certain type of way. They did those studies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
It knows how human nature is. Right now you have algorithms that are just feeding them. They are feeding them everything about us. You know what I mean? So they know about us. They know how to manipulate our minds at this point in time. And that's what they've been doing. Look at Diddy. He's one of the people that's using his platform to manipulate people's minds.
Well, he's in Antigua, the last I heard. He may be out of the country because they are looking for him.
Nah, he in Miami. They got him. He ain't never leave.
Okay, hold on. Here's Don. He's got a few minutes. Okay, Don.
I guess it's too late now, right?
No, we got about 10 minutes we can do.
Okay, so it's 3:17 now. What time you want to make it? You going to call me or want me to?
We're on right, Don. We're doing the podcast right now. I got Terry on.
Okay.
We're an hour and 9 minutes into the podcast. I was going to call you at 2:30 because the podcast starts at 2. So we've been doing the podcast at an hour and 9. We're in. You're on. Well, we're taping, but we're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna be putting you on because your podcast gets taped. So let me explain that. Anyway, let people know who you are and what.
Some questions. All right, go ahead.
Let people know who you are and why you're running. Terry did a good job in answering some of the questions.
Oh, he did. Is he still on? Okay.
Terry.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is Don Scoggins. I'm running for mayor of Baltimore. I was just reading something, and I said this kind of confirms one of the reasons. I would say one of many reasons why I'm running, and that is I believe Baltimore. We need to get more into a economic agenda. You know, Baltimore is majority black, and you have all. You know, you have I would say majority of all the Democrats on the City Council, Democratic Mayor, Democratic City Council, Democratic General Assembly. So why is it Baltimore's the black community? Why we should have more than we should have a less than a 20% poverty rate in Baltimore. We should have more small businesses here. More of the residents should be homeowners. I have some issues with the dollar program because as it's been proposed, which is not, to me, hasn't really been thought out correctly. I would advocate having more of the properties go to some of the current public housing tenants, those that are able to buy. We can help them buy their houses, help them become financially sufficient so they can buy some of these properties. We should not let them just dwindle along, and then next thing you know, they'll be further out of reach of the average person. So now while they're in this state, we should do more to help them buy the properties. And also, I believe that in areas like Winchester, like Sandtown, Winchester, we should be a little more, not more robust, but robust in revitalizing the area, because that is an area that sort of sets a tone for the entire city. When you mention Baltimore and people think it's dangerous, they think of Winchester, of Sandtown, Winchester, but that's not always the case. That's one. Another thing is, before anything can be done in Baltimore, to me, we have to address the corruption problem. Baltimore has a serious corruption problem, and that needs to be addressed. I think that is sort of the elephant in the room that everybody knows about, but nobody really wants to deal with. So, as a person who's not entrenched in the current machinations, I would say, in the current apparatus of Baltimore, I believe I'm a good person to address that, and I'm not afraid to speak truth to power.
What about the crime? How are you going to lower the crime rate?
Okay. Well, what I would do, let me just say this. What I'm going to try to do, TRY, what I'm going to try to do, and I think I can go in that direction, and that is, I think we need to involve the youth more. We need to let them know that they are the future of the city. And too many public officials, I consider myself a public servant, not a politician, but too many of the politicians have given lip service to reducing the crime in the city, which unfortunately has been perpetrated many by the youth. The youth want to have something to do. We need to open up these rec centers, open them up. I was just talking with a friend of mine who's very much involved in doing things in Africa. I would like for Baltimore to have a sister city. I was just talking to the guy who's from Gambia, have a sister city in an African country, and we can do an internship or maybe a exchange type program between young people in Africa and in Baltimore. We need to just do something to give these young people something to do other than just standing around doing nothing. And we need to encourage at an earlier age, not wait until they're 15 to 16 years old. I would say at 6 or 7 years old, we need to come up with ways to encourage young people to what kind of career, what do they want to do when they grow up, even if once they grow up, even if they wind up doing something that's different than what they said they want to do when they were much younger, at least feeding the idea of wanting to do something when they grow up is something we need to encourage. We need to encourage them to dream big, and develop their own path towards.
Don, that's all nice and everything. That's all nice and everything, but I'm gonna be point blank, straight up. Okay. I mean, that sounds nice, and I like the idea of what you're saying and everything. Yeah. And FYI, we have 3 sister cities in Africa already: Alexandria, Egypt; Luxor, Egypt; and Liberia, Grand Garb, Liberia. So we do have sister cities in Africa, but I digress. Okay, my wife and I there was an assault. It's called a common assault. We had one of these squeegee guys on Pratt and President, came up to the car, act like he was going to pull a gun on us. Okay, so we had to file a report assault. So I hear all that, but I'm like, wait a minute. You're like 800 police officers short in the city. Let's get right to the nitty gritty. You got to get more police on the street right now in order to stop those hardened criminals, even with the rec programs and all that stuff. They're not going to stop committing crimes. Okay, they're not. So we have to do something in order to lower the crime rate.
Okay, let me go into that. Getting more police officers, we know it costs more. It's going to cost money. They're not going to do it for free. What I would recommend, and what I will do, is the budget. To me, the city budget needs to be combed. It needs to be scrubbed and found out what can be what expenses can be eliminated. Because people don't say it, but Baltimore is basically almost bankrupt.
So you're going to do an audit first? You want to do an audit?
Yeah, that's what I said about an audit. Doing a scrub.
Do an audit.
Scrubbing the budget, doing an audit.
Okay.
And find out where the money is going, and if we can at least hire 200 or 300 police officers, that would be a great start. And also find out what needs to be done to keep the police officers from retiring or going into neighboring jurisdictions. Because a lot of them come to Baltimore as a way station, I guess, to get paid, and then when something opens up in a neighboring jurisdiction, they go there. Many of them don't even live in Baltimore. I would make some of these houses could be made available to, especially the younger officers who maybe not have families and all.
Okay. Okay, what about Dr. Sonia Santelises, the school system? The reason I'm rushing a little bit because we only have a few more minutes. What about Sonia Santelises?
I'm not in favor of her remaining because I think that she has not been, well, I keep saying sufficiently, I don't think she's been robust in coming up with a viable curriculum plan for these students. I think we need somebody who's going to advocate, because I understand a lot of the approvals are needed in the school system in Baltimore. You have to get it through the state. So we should have a superintendent who's going to be very, very much an advocate with the state to totally reform Baltimore's curriculum so that we're more trade-based than academic. But you still have the academics and the STEM and all, but we need to deal with that.
And Doc, do you have any questions for Don?
I guess the one question I would have
about the food. I know the food desert. Go ahead.
No, believe it or not, have you heard anything about the Amtrak's Frederick Douglass Tunnel?
Okay, I know that's one of your projects, and you want to have. No, I haven't heard of that. I think I'll read up on it and see what it's all about. I know it's a tunnel going through the city, some parts of the city, I believe.
Right. And I'm going to try to bring this information to all our mayoral candidates. It's something that's being put in place, and if we don't get our mayoral candidates and other candidates up and snuff with this issue, it's going to hit us, and it's going to be too late for us to do anything. So I'm trying to expose our community that certain communities, many of them black, are having this tunnel run under them, and they're not being properly compensated.
Okay, well, that's something we need to get up on before it gets to be too late. We don't want to have another BGE type of thing going on where it's done and we don't know about it. You know.
Well, let's do this. Don, we've got to have you back on. We missed you. Wanted to give you a little bit more time, of course.
Sure.
Terry did a good job in talking to the subject matter, of course. On the podcast, The Outsiders, I guess, Donald E. Scoggins running for the mayoral position for the Republican nomination, running for that so that he can get to the general. And we have his campaign manager, Terry Sims on The Outsiders as well. And guys, thanks for your time, for being on the show.
Thanks very much.
And it was of course a pleasure having you on. And we'll talk. Oh, one more thing. I do want to ask this, Don, before you leave. What I was thinking of doing is having a round table, kind of like a King Arthur Camelot, King Arthur and his court, a round table, and get this big round table, have all the mayoral candidates at this table. There's going to be a meeting at 6 o'clock tonight. I'm going to be there as well. Doc's going to be there. And we're going to talk some things over as far as what's going on with the other candidates, not Brandon and Sheila because they're getting all the press. But what do you think of the idea of having this round table with all the candidates, Doc and myself? Doc may be hearing about this for the first time. We will actually be moderating this round table, and it will be real, no one there, no people, no audience. Just the candidates, myself and Doc Cheatham, and we ask you the questions from the people. I'm going out on the streets and get questions from the people and our own questions, and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty. We're going to take care of some business, and we're going to film it and show people these are your candidates. And it's going to be real talk. It's not going to be this little forum, town hall type of situation. We're going to have some real talk and real discussion about Baltimore City and what needs to be done. What do you think of that idea, the round table?
I think it's a good idea for a round table, and also I think that in the intro to all that, you should be very emphatic. And I'm talking about you, Sean, and Doc. You should be very emphatic and explain to the audience or to the proposed audience why you're having to do that, because I think it's a crime that the other candidates have not been sufficiently covered by the what's called the mainstream media here, and especially when you have one candidate that's being funded primarily by one of the owners of the mainstream media. So
well,
I think
yes.
It's very unfair, you know?
Yes, we will be letting everyone know why. We have to schedule it. Doc, what do you think of that idea? Okay, Doc must have dropped off. Okay, he must have dropped off. Hello?
Can I speak to that real quick?
Yeah, sure, Terry.
Yeah, just real quick. I just wanted to point out that it's two primary races going on. The media is really painting it as one race. Like, they're just showing the polls. The polls are only of Democratic candidates, of the Democratic primary.
Well, that's what they do.
Republican primary going on, and nobody's paying attention.
Well, that's what they do. That's why we want to have the round table, to have everyone there, all the candidates, Republican, Democrat, and the talk is going to be about Baltimore, and this is going to be some serious talk, not this cupcake stuff with these forums and town halls. No, we're going to get down in the talk, some serious talk. But anyway, let me let everybody know, the Outsiders, we're going to have to run now. But guys, thanks for being our guests on the show. The Outsiders, Terry Sims, Donald E. Scoggins, and I want you all to take care, and I'll get in touch with you later, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Those were our guests. That was another episode of The Outsiders, but this round table event, we're going to push this so we can get all the candidates, and we're going to have serious talk so the people can get serious subject matter, not this cupcake forum, and I hosted and I moderated a forum. That's all fine and good, but we're going to really ask them the real questions and see if they can take the heat, if they can handle it. Anyway, all thanks. Another episode of Outsiders. Take care, and God bless.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.